Chair, one thing is that I have a conscience, and I'm always very truthful to my conscience, and that is why I meant full disclosure without being prompted, even when I came before, when I went before Committee of Parliament during my vetting, because I had nothing to hide, and I wanted the country to understand, to know Linturi and the kind of tribulations that he had to undergo to get to that position, or to get where we were at that time, so that in the future, even if they are brought out, then it's on record that I volunteered that information because there was nothing to hide, because there was a statement of fact that these cases were there. But most importantly, members of the committee, is that all these cases revolve around parties or around an individual that unfortunately who are friends, and for whatever reason that may not even be very material to these proceedings, then that relationship could not hold, and out of our own volition decided to bring so many cases which I had to defend. And out of the few selected cases here, there is none that I lost. There is even a very interesting case, which is also which was mentioned, but whose light we did not even send, which also very appears interesting. And it was case number 74, where I was even being sued to take responsibility of children who are not mine. So all these cases revolve around that kind of disagreement, and I would just, the members of the committee want to really allow me to state them as start, because it has been a very painful experience. This one, when I start thinking about it, makes me break.
No, a married man is not allowed to break in public, Honorable Linturi. Just tell the committee, you mentioned tribulations you have undergone because of these personal disputes. Can you please shed more light on those tribulations? Who was the author of those tribulations? How long did they last? And what format did they take?
Members of the committee, I think
Wanna see us be a bit louder?
Just like you mentioned yesterday, you know, we had a 5-year or 6-year running battles with the former administration, and especially people that were believed to belong to a certain side, or to a certain team that was in support of a presidential candidate. Remember, we were tagged as Tanga, and it appeared that I was one of them. And during this time, so many things were done to me, because I was conned, I was talked to, I was intimidated, and all sorts of tricks were used to coerce me not to believe in the candidature or in the person that I was supporting. And because these cases, or that was almost the beginning of these cases, that administration or the leaders then decided to take advantage of that situation and latched on them, and I became a victim of serious persecution, including the interfering with even, business that really did not even concern this. It was not a very easy period for me, and I think it's also common in knowledge, because I've been trained in the media forever, and people do not care whether you have a child. Internet does not forget. I was painted as a person. Even a rape case was a choreographer. And let me finish, because it reminds me of those very bad memories. Because at time it took the intervention of Parliament itself. Because I was arrested when we were seriously even debating very serious bills in the Senate, and a decision was to be made, and numbers really counted, and I had to be arrested so that I did not participate, even vote for what was on the floor, and took the magnanimity of Parliament, of the Senate, to suspend the sittings of Parliament so that I wouldn't be produced before the Senate because of what was happening. Chair, members of this committee, that is just one of them. I mentioned it yesterday. And this has never happened in the history. In history anywhere, I'm yet to find where you find divorce matters being conducted in public. There is a reason why they are never done, but all these media stations here threaten the country to a comment about a marriage and divorce for a marriage that never existed. The judgments are here. It was all commented, it was all persecution. Members of the committees, I was kicked out because of the support of that demonstration from my own house. My own house. For 6 years. House and spent money to build, and I could not. People were given protection to occupy my house forcefully because nothing we could do. But the only mistake we had done was to support a candidate for president who did not find favor with that administration. So, members of the committee, when I look at this thing and the story, even after appearing before this committee and explaining myself, volunteering information, and you remember yesterday, the mover of the motion who is here, and the audacity to tell me, ukiachwa, achika. You know what that means, niachwe niachike, but that should show you, Chair, and members of this committee, that this matter has not been that easy. I am not following up on anything, but the question I'm asking myself, or any other man here, or any other good lady here, because today people have relationships, they may not work. To what extent can you completely push them? If the courts have determined these matters that are being canvassed here, or in support of this motion, the rulings and judgments are in my favor. And considering the nature of these cases, the evidence, some of them getting this type of evidence, must tell you, you really need to be close to someone who knows about these cases, so that it becomes easy for you to look for any relevant material that can support you. So what I am saying Chair, is that it is unfortunate, but because these issues have been raised here, I have to really mention them. It will not be my wish, because maybe probably my children are watching the father there. And it's a very trying moment. And some things we leave to God, because there's nothing much we can do, but when we are faced with such situations, and because we must also clear ourselves, we must speak on these matters. So that is what, and I really respectfully support women. I am one because I have daughters. My mother herself, I think my mother is a woman who prays for me every time. I may not be a person who goes to church every time, but I think the strength that I have to face such situations are prayers from my mother. I have, were it not for my mother, I would not be here where I am. I have no reason to disrespect women. And probably those women that have interacted with me properly without really taking advantage of me, know the kind of a person who I am. Because I have never disrespected women. I really love women because I know this country can't be what it is without women. I am a believer in the empowerment of women at a personal level.
Now, Honorable Linturi, just so that we make progress, because it's easy to get stuck on this matter, tell the committee how it felt to be accused on TV headlines, newspaper headlines, falsely as a rapist. Just a brief answer. How did they feel as a father, as an honorable member of parliament, to be subjected to TV, camera screens, newspaper headlines that you are a rapist?
Chair, there cannot be any other embarrassing situation like finding yourself on TV.
Honorable CS, Senior Counsel, have a point of order? Or?
Well, my lady, you have to guide us. The committee has to guide us to what extent we can be involved in matters of relationship of the cabinet secretary with a specific woman or with women.
Your Honor, it is my case. I told you yesterday, I have really refrained from engaging my senior on these interjections. It is my case. If the way I do it doesn't persuade the tribunal, if I'm delving on irrelevancies, it is my risk. He's a learned counsel, very eminent learned counsel. He knows, and he knows what he's doing is not right. Let me be protected to prosecute my case. If I fail, I have previously failed in many other cases. This will just be another one.